Today, I want to talk to you about the upcoming lunar eclipse. Now, this is a total full moon lunar eclipse in Virgo, and Virgo is the sign of the Virgin. She's in the field with the wheat. She's very much connected to themes of cleanliness and purity and detoxification. She is um, bringing up themes of wellness and health to the forefront. Now, we might be aware of where we're not actually there yet, or perhaps there are some slippery, toxic patterns or habits that are replaying themselves. Let me share with you the chart of this lunar eclipse. Now, this is happening, this is set for Melbourne time. It's happening early evening tonight. And you can see that that moon is with the south node. Now, the south node is also known as the dragon's tail, and it can be a point of release. So while we have a lot of energy, something is culminating, something is coming up, and it may be uncomfortable, it may be a crisis of sorts. We need to be mindful that we have to kind of ride this out and actually do our best to purge whatever is coming up, and I don't mean like necessarily being too dramatic, but it could be something like actually doing a bit of a detox, like not drinking, this weekend, or it could be like increasing the sort of good food you eat, because this is actually in the sign of the intestines. Okay, Virgo rules the intestines and also rules cognition. Now, there is a big part of this, which is sort of like as within, so without, so what is going on inside of us psychologically is mirrored by physicality, so our intestinal health and our ability to digest the food we eat is connected to our ability to digest life. And being overwhelmed, being anxious, having disrupted sleep, these can be things that come up during this lunar eclipse, especially because it's in Virgo, and Virgo can be prone to overthinking and anxiety. And so we need to let go of limiting beliefs. Okay, we need to identify what beliefs are keeping us stuck in the past, because there is an element or a big part of this eclipse is about letting go of past programming because it's on the South Node. So you need to be willing to let go in order to get the lesson that's here. Now, it's interesting that this eclipse is tying into the US economy, and I want to share with you a little bit later the chart of Donald Trump, because in his birth chart, he was actually born on a full moon lunar eclipse, and his moon is conjunct the South Node. So he's kind of a slippery character, and he is tied in closely to this eclipse, as in like a very tight square. So he is activating this on the world stage, and we're seeing themes. Like I was checking different news forecasts before. There's a risk of, heading further into recession. US stock market's lost $4 billion. And this was something I read only 3 days ago. So it's in this eclipse period. So when we let me just share this chart with you. When we look at the ruler of this eclipse, okay, this is a Virgo full moon. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Okay. Now, Mercury talks about our stock markets. It talks about trade and commerce. Now, Mercury is about to go retrograde. Tomorrow it's going to go retrograde. So that will bring probably a downturn, or at least further disruption in the economy. Traditionally speaking, Mercury or any retrograde planet is weakened, or there is like a counterflow. There is an internalization as well. So, I mean, I guess this could be expanded on to sort of be like, well, people are going to be reconsidering where they put their money, where they invest, what is actually secure and stable, and what is known. And we see as Mercury goes retrograde, and then it will start to move back in towards Pisces. This is very slippery territory. So I don't like that really, but I also see that we need to be taking a retrospective gaze. And whatever is coming up for us in this lunar eclipse remember this is going to be a season. We're going to be working with this material for some time. It's not just like a full moon, like an ordinary one. This is like a full moon, like jacked up on steroids. So when we look at our own charts, so I want to give you a little demonstration, okay? So we have, say we have our lunar eclipse chart. Just use this as an example. So in this chart, we can see that the lunar eclipse is happening here. It's happening in the first house. So if we were just to pretend that we've overlaid this information onto another chart, 23 degrees of Virgo is happening in the first house. So this is happening in a way that's very personal to if this was an individual person, okay? If this was happening, say, in the fourth house, this could be bringing up themes around the home and living situation, around ancestors, parents, especially the father, lots of different themes. So depending on where 23 degrees Virgo lands in your natal chart will depend on what theme, what significations are being unlocked for you this lunar eclipse, and what is being kind of revealed but also obscured at the same time. So it's like, you can feel like it's time for something to come up, but you can also feel like, okay, but it's not quite taking root. Like I have to let go of something in order for it to grow. It's almost like you can have some knowledge and then some like obstruction to clarity, if that makes sense. Now, the other reason we've got obstruction to clarity is because we've got Neptune right up on the North Node. Now, Neptune tends to distort and lead to, fantasy and illusions and things like that. And it's right up here on the compulsive North Node. Like the North Node is attached to desire. And having Neptune there means we could also be triggered with habits or compulsions or addictions. They could be coming back up again. This is very much an axis of nurturing and assimilation and sympathy. It sounds weird, I know, but it's like having compassion and having sympathy for ourselves and for the world at this time is going to really make things a lot easier. We can feel quite a heavy burden right now because we've got Saturn on the sun. The sun has just come through Saturn. But that is really like quite a hard taskmaster. But I mean, I guess the positive aspect of this, it can be, that we've got a sense of commitment to like, okay, while we don't know all the answers, we know that this particular thing needs to change. It's got that sort of, this eclipse has this sort of straw that broke the camel's back kind of energy. So I've had a few clients this week. One of them had really problematic physical symptoms, which he'd been ignoring and kept going until the other day when he can no longer work because he's just pushed himself way too far. Now, remember the connections to health and well-being because it's a Virgo full moon eclipse. So this person's no longer able to work, and this eclipse was actually happening in his 10th house, or it will be happening in his 10th house of his occupation, his work, or his passion. Like it's not just work for him. This is actually his career and his passion, but he's really there's a blockage there. There's something he now needs to attend to because he didn't attend to that. So if you've got anything niggling at you that needs to be attended to, it's a really good time to do that before the straw breaks the camel's back, so to speak. I've had other clients this week with more psychological anxiety, like meltdowns and things like that. Because remember too, the ruler of the full moon is Mercury. Mercury is not super stable. It's in a fiery sign, like it's in Aries, and it's about to go retrograde. Aries is ruled by Mars, and Mars is in its stability in Cancer. So we are not necessarily in fine form, but what we can do is we can make changes, we can observe and get enough rest, do some cleansing, physical cleansing. Doesn't just work on the physical. Okay, remember that we've got a Virgo full moon, but that's actually the zodiacal sign that connects to our intestines and our ability to absorb information. Okay, so it's not just about food. And Chinese medicine knows this, there is this transformation aspect to the intestines. So, if you're struggling to digest and interpret your life, then this is a really good time to do a little bit of a cleanse, whether it's like physical, maybe you could even do some kind of sort of spiritual, psychological cleanse. It would be a great time to write down a bunch of limiting beliefs on a bit of paper and burn them in a fire. Nothing more cleansing than fire for these types of things. Um, so, you know, some very profound, karmic, old patterns, potentially psychological unease could be coming up. It really depends. So I'm going to share the chart one final time, but I'm going to share it together with Trump's chart just to show you again. We've got the lunar eclipse happening here at 23 Virgo. Now that lands in his second house. What is he disrupting? He disrupts his resources, right? Money. This is the house of money, the second house. And that eclipse, it's like he's not, there's like a blockage, like he's not actually able to see that. And it is emptying out with the South Node. The South Node is like that release valve, releasing a hell of a lot of money, $4 billion or something in what, oh my goodness, it's absolutely insane in the stock market. So yeah, you can see how closely this ties in. We've got 21 degrees of Sag. That's a tight square to that moon that's happening. So this is the full moon here. So yeah, it's interesting when we see these things and the way that these eclipses don't just work in personal charts, but also work in the charts of world leaders and subsequently the world at large. So let me know how you're feeling with this eclipse. I've been feeling like I think my sleep's not been very good. I had a lot of dreams last night about my mom, and I was like crying and missing her. She was kind of dying in the dream. She's already dead, but she's dying again. And so I think what this is showing us, it's really a catharsis. It's like a release. It's about letting go, seeing whatever comes up, whatever does come up, and acknowledging and releasing and dealing with that, like as immediately as possible. And allowing yourself to go back through whatever you need to go back through, because remember that Mercury is going to go retrograde. So it's going to be a retrospective, reflective period for the next 6 weeks anyway. That's going to be sort of happening, kind of sparked up from whatever's revealed at this eclipse here. But also the awareness that not everything will be revealed, and that, there's a waiting game going on. And in order to kind of have the thing that you want, you need to let go of something. And it can be a fairly slippery time. It can be a time where some people are feeling depressed and low with the Saturn influence on the sun, blocking or kind of compressing the feeling of light energy and just leading to a heaviness. So it's good to kind of move and do things that help you to expand and open up and stretch and not get too heavy. Physical body healing, emotional and psychological cleansing as well. Look after your intestines because that'll have a very nice benefit on your psychological health as well. I wish you well. Let me know where this eclipse is landing for you. It's landing in my 8th house, which is why I'm having a lot of these feelings of grief come up, and loss and patterns around death. It's very intense, but I think it's good because, by releasing, letting go of these types of heavy materials, we actually become freer. So yeah, lean into the discomfort. Expect a little bit of a wild period. These eclipse seasons are always pretty wild. And also, if you've got planets, especially towards, say from about 20 to about 25 degrees of mutable signs, or you've got your rising sign in mutable signs, I'm talking about Pisces, Gemini, Sagittarius, or Virgo, then you might be having your buttons pressed a bit at this time. So thank you very much. Now, if you enjoyed this information and you want to go a bit deeper, I recommend getting in touch with me and having a session to look at your personal birth chart to see what is happening in there. Because if you're having a hard time, there's no doubt that something is really significant is happening in your natal chart. And by working with the astrology, we can actually help to give you foresight and a plan and help to sort of understand and heal some of the material that's coming up so that you can feel better and understand like why and when things are likely to shift as well. So it's not like, you know, you're in a bad or difficult phase forever. If you are having a challenge, astrology helps us to know, okay, well, we're in a little bit of a difficult phase for the next few weeks, but it's going to shift out and lean into these particular things. So if you're curious, reach out to me and I will book you in. Let me know where you're feeling this, and I will be back again soon. Thank you.